Warm intro. Harold's mornings were always quiet, too quiet. The kettle whistled softly and he poured 2 cups of coffee out of habit. 1 cup sat untouched across from him, steam curling into the empty air. He would look at that chair and remember the sound of his wife's laugh, how it used to fill the kitchen. Now the only sound was the tick of the wall clock and the hum of the refrigerator. Reflective tone. Loneliness isn't loud. It creeps in slowly, like dust gathering on a shelf. Harold hadn't noticed it at first, but 5 years after his wife's passing, it seemed to be everywhere. Narrative tone. One day, his neighbor, Mrs. Turner, knocked on the door. She brought cookies and a bit of advice. "Harold, you should try that new senior social site I told you about. You need company. It's not good to be alone so much." Harold smiled politely. After she left, he sat down at the computer and stared at the blank sign-up page. It felt strange, like he was stepping into a new world. But that night, he created a profile. He uploaded a picture from last summer, him holding a fish with a proud grin. It felt silly, but a little exciting too. Gentle excitement. That very night, a message appeared. "Hello, Harold. I love your smile. You seem like someone I could talk to." Her name was Clara. They began to chat. At first it was small talk, favorite foods, old movies, stories about childhood. Soon Harold was checking the site every morning, eager for her messages. For the first time in years, he felt alive again. He even caught himself laughing aloud at her jokes. Tone shifts slightly. Then, after a month of chatting, Clara wrote, "Harold, I feel like I can trust you. My mother is sick and I can't afford her medicine. Would you help me?" Harold's heart tightened. He didn't know her well, but she felt like a friend. He wired $200 the next morning. Clara sent heart emojis, thanking him over and over. Harold felt like he had done a good deed, but a week later she wrote again, this time asking for money for a plane ticket to come see him. Harold hesitated, standing at the bank with the transfer form in his hand. Something inside him whispered that something wasn't right. Quiet, tense tone. That night, Harold lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Memories of his wife's advice came back. Be careful who you trust, Harold. Not everyone is who they say they are. The next morning, Harold called a private investigator. His voice shook as he explained everything. The chats, the requests, the money. The investigator listened patiently. "You did the right thing calling me," he said. "Let me look into this. Give me a few days." Suspense builds. 3 days later, the phone rang. Harold held his breath as the investigator spoke. "Mr. Green, Clara isn't who she says she is. We traced her messages. They come from a group overseas running scams. They've tricked dozens of people. Some lost their savings." Harold's heart sank. He sat down hard on the couch, phone still in his hand. Everything, the jokes, the late-night talks, was a lie. There was no Clara, just strangers using sweet words to steal his trust. And his money. Determined tone. That evening, Harold opened the chat one last time. Clara's message blinked on the screen. "Did you send the money?" Harold's fingers hovered over the keys. Then he typed, "I know who you are. I hired an investigator. I won't send another penny. And I've reported this account." For a moment there was silence. Then the typing indicator disappeared. The profile was deleted an hour later. Harold stared at the empty screen for a long time. He didn't cry, but he felt something heavy inside him break. Gentle resolution. The next morning, Harold stepped outside and sat on his porch. For the first time in months, he waved to Mrs. Turner. She came over and they talked, really talked, about small things, about real life. It wasn't as exciting as the online chats, but it was real. And slowly, Harold felt a little less alone. Ending 1. Healing. A month later, Harold joined a local book club. He met other widows and widowers, shared stories, even laughed again. The loneliness was still there, but softer now, easier to carry. Ending 2. Helping others. Harold decided to share his experience at the local senior center. He warned others about scams and taught them how to stay safe online. What happened to him wouldn't happen to someone else if he could help it. Ending 3. Quiet reflection. Harold kept the chat logs for a while, then one morning he pressed delete. He whispered to the empty room, "Goodbye, Clara." Somehow it felt like closing a chapter of his life. Reflective tone. Loneliness can make us believe almost anything, Sesame, even lies. But our need for connection should never make us defenseless. Real friendships are built on honesty, not requests for money. Warm tone. Have you or someone you love ever faced something like this? Would you have done what Harold did or trusted Clara until the end? Share your thoughts in the comments, I read them all. And if you enjoy emotional real-life stories with powerful lessons, subscribe to the channel so you never miss the next one.